The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
Okay, we lit it just like a fuse, so no need to pick and choose. Welcome to 2020, where we do more than interviews. The hottest be coming through, jumping knowledge on all of you. Get a pick at the front of you with the truth that they offer you. Yeah, hands up, we doing it for the culture. To give artists and businesses more exposure. Keeping it real and stay solid just like a boulder. It's about to go all the way down, can't get no lower. Chasing my dreams, know that they get no slower. But if I stay running, I promise they getting closer. Moreover, success my older. And if you're sleeping on me, I'm waking them up like Folgers. I told you, coming from the land with the tide roll. Well, we'll be on a whole different vibe though. We like to ride slow and keep our windows tinted so you really can see us like Stevie Wonder waking up with his eyes closed. Yeah, got the kind of flow that rock the boat. On my 16s of pounds of dope. And if you figure you can hang with me on the mic, then grab some rope. Matter of fact, better grab some hope. While you at it, we keep it live, it's time to tune in. Turn up the sound on what you're using. It goes so hard, I think it's bruising. The show is 2020, no need to zoom in. Yeah.
Now I can resume recording.
Yeah, be wild.
I was not going to be on record saying that because them country niggas can find me. You don't fuck with people. I'm telling you the truth. You don't fuck with people who have pigs as pets because they can chop your ass up and feed you to the pigs and nobody would know. This is fact.
I know.
This is fucking fact. This was told to me by an old white dude. He's like, why you think they have pigs? And they never sell them. I was like, oh, fuck that.
That's just one of the ways. I heard about, you know how like in the country they be burning shit and they get one of them barrels. They can cremate your ass like that too.
We have one.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why.
Yep.
Because they can rust up, but they never disintegrate.
Never disintegrate. So they would just sit there.
In the country, they will get rid of your ass.
Yeah, there's several ways to get rid of you. Several.
Fuck. But that being said, how y'all doing? Doing good?
Man, I am doing excellent because I'm here.
That's what we need, man.
Yeah.
I was telling Lynndrick how we had the think tank last time. You and I, we just sat down and just talked and just got shit out to advance further. And her and I had a conversation. I was like, we need to get Lynndrick in on this. And I think...
Yeah, because when we was talking that day and we had linked up, I told him, I was like, see, you just need to holler at Lynndrick because he sound like he all into that black shit. He was like,
right.
he was like, really? I was like, yes, he studies it, like embodies it, he loves it.
So,
yeah, I gave him a hint. I told him I said I love demographics. Like that's my favorite. I like one of my favorite topics in school was geography, and the reason why it was so interesting was because of the people that lived there. You know what I mean? Just every time I meet somebody who's mixed, like there was somebody who was mixed with Mexican and Jew. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Yeah, you know what I mean? Because Jews are Jewish and then Mexicans are strictly Catholic for the most part. So it's just like, how did you come to be? There should be a movie made about that. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that is just interesting to me. So
a Jew and a Mexican walk into a bar. That's how it started. Fuck. That's crazy. Like, I wonder what kind of hair they got.
They honestly look more Hispanic than they do.
That's what I figured.
They look more Hispanic than they do Jewish. So it's like, it's crazy. First of all, it's another story just talking about, you know, just how somebody just is mixed genetically. I feel like that's incredible in and of itself. But just culturally mixing each other, like it's just always been interesting to me.
DNA.
Yeah.
And cultures.
But I feel like it's something that is a duty for African Americans because we are probably the only group in America that don't have an ethnicity that is known to us.
I agree with you on that.
White people, they know they're not necessarily white. They can hop out of that race anytime they want to, and you know, every St. Patrick's Day, they take off being white and they become Irish. You feel what I'm saying? So they got that leverage that most African Americans don't have. Africans who immigrate over here, they know who they are. They're Igbo, whatever. You know what I mean? Iwe, I don't know how to say it. It's Iwe. They whatever they are, but they still got that. You know what I mean?
That like identification.
That identification. You would look at me and just you would hear them say. I heard one of them say, you would look at me and think I'm just a regular black person, but no, I'm not. I have a whole country behind me. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
We don't have countries behind us. You know, one of the reasons I told her, I don't know if I told you this, but one of the reasons why we have a certain relationship or certain stereotypes that we have about Asian people is because, you know, back around right after World War II happened, they put like pretty much Japanese people, anybody with slanted eyes, into concentration camps. And the only reason why they got turned loose was the pressure that the countries put on America. They have entire countries backing them. African Americans don't have that leverage whatsoever.
Do you think we would ever have it though? Do you think we will ever get there to where we can identify ourselves to some degree?
I think no. I think that we have made our own ethnicity through our history here. Like being an African American is so distinct that it is becoming like its own, where rather it is like its own ethnicity within its own right because of how we improvise our own culture based on the circumstances.
I agree.
We're completely different from whatever you come from, wherever country it was, Ghana, Nigeria, Benin, you know what I mean? No matter where you come from, boom, you here now. And it's like, what, 300 years separation? 400 years separation?
Yeah, we no longer cousins to them.
No.
At a certain point.
At a certain point, nah. No.
I get what
you know what I'm trying to say? So we'll never have that. The only thing that we can do is try to build together based off the ethnicity that we have here together. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why Black unity in America is so important. Definitely. Because we all we have.
We all we got.
No matter where you go in the world, they got something to say about Black culture, but no one really knows what it's like to have this kind of experience except each other.
They're not born in it.
You know what I'm saying? White people, and you'll see this all throughout, you know, any kind of justice system in America. You'll see them if somebody white does something horrible or what have you. They always try to see the more here, like, how did this happen? You know what I mean? Like, that's the question they ask. How did this happen?
But you're not gonna get the same.
But we don't do that for each other. You know what I mean? Because we don't share that. You know what I mean? We don't share that kind of like that umbrella the same way other cultures do with Asians, with Mexicans, any other culture, except for us. That's the reason why I feel like it's imperative for us to try to figure out, just look back. And that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. That's what led me to that, because like we was about to talk about racism earlier. That's the reason why I feel like the responsibility or fault of racism isn't held upon Black people at all. Because first of all, we didn't create race.
That's true.
The language you hear what language I'm speaking? I'm speaking English.
I'm not in America.
Yeah, and we're in America. I'm not speaking my indigenous language. I don't know what my ethnicity is. White people know theirs. They have a choice. You can be Scottish, you can be Norwegian, you can be Dutch, you can be French, you can be wherever the hell you came from in the Caucasus Mountains. But you chose to make a culture around your complexion and hold everybody else accountable to that system. We didn't have a choice. We came over here our ancestors came over here speaking a whole nother language, and how we learned English was the way that they presented it to us. Which is why I was telling her how we learned the word nigga. You know what I mean? When you were saying earlier about how poison, I know is poison. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't know that nigga was a poisonous word. It was just a word. That's what they called us. We just boom, boom. You know, it just happens. We see it all the time with how Americans treat all immigrants, but specifically Mexicans. They come over here, they don't really know English for real, so they learn English through how we use it.
Interaction.
Yes, and it's the same way. And so, you know, we kind of build what we have we make what they give us our own. And that's the difference. So I just feel like because we done had to go through all this, you create a system based on race to oppress us, to having hierarchy where you will always be the highest because you're white.
Right.
How the hell do I get that burden?
Good point.
But I get what the argument against it is, because the relationship in action when it's applied doesn't look the same from when a Black person or a white person does it.
You're right on that.
But the key difference is that white person has way more leverage and will always have way more leverage than a Black person doing it. It's empty. It's empty air. It's empty air anytime a black person do it. It's stupid unless they got some sort of power, and even then, that power is shallow.
I look at it like that too.
Yes.
When you born with y'all being males, I look at it like this: you already got 2 strikes against y'all. You black, and you're a man, because you got to go into society with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
So it ain't really easy to get a 3rd one.
Yeah.
It's really not. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I always wondered, like, why is it like that? Like, what would change? What would have to change about it? When will we make that change? Because I think it starts with us too.
Yeah, of course it does. That's what I'm saying.
I think it'll change when we unify.
Yeah, but it got to be past that. It got to be past. It can't just be when somebody died, then we, you know what I'm saying, we join together then we go our separate ways.
I mean permanently. And
yes.
I don't mean just as black communities. I think if we could unify, since we're talking about, we're seeing Mexicans go through what we went through 200, 300 years ago, I think we have to recognize that. I think a lot of people are disillusioned in the fact that, oh, we're black, so we can only look out for blacks. I think we have to look out as a minority, period. If they're going through the same injustices, we have to call the spade on their side and on our side. And we have to be open into making a bridge between us. Because like you said, we're not in this shit by ourselves. Just like we was talking about with the truth thing. We're not in this as a section of human race. We're in this shit as one human.
Right.
So as soon as we make this the standard for the human race, I think that's when that will work out. And I think we have to recognize that we're being weaponized against each other as minorities and as men and women now.
Yeah.
I hate to go into this. This is not how I want to transition into this shit, but I have to say it now. The Gayle King shit.
Oh.
I feel like her intentions was not to come out that way. I do wholeheartedly believe. Hold on.
I'm with you, Linda. I'm with you, but I ain't gonna say nothing.
Let me finish. I don't think her intention was to have that come out that way. I believe that. You remember when we were first talking? I told you I was talking to Asha.
Yeah.
Remember how I said we had a conversation?
I know how it works. Yeah.
And it gets skewed.
It gets skewed. Yeah.
I think that conversation was a totality of the lifetime. I think the topic was brought up. I heard the full published version of the interview. And I agree, the questions that were put in that interview, in that positioning, in that timing, did seem like, why are you bringing this up?
It was inappropriate.
But at the same time, if we're talking about the totality of a person's existence, this did occur. I know it's not something that was true, but this did occur. So I can understand the topic coming up. That's all I'm excusing.
Okay.
That's all I'm excusing. Okay. What the question she asked? Oh, you deserve to get drugged for that.
Yeah.
But the topic shouldn't be excused.
Yeah.
If it comes up, I get it. Because it needs to be brought up, and like Lisa did, it needs to be addressed that this happened and he was wronged. As soon as because you can't dismiss the event.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss the event. Because you're minimizing that shit. When somebody white lied on a successful black man and the black man beat it. Talk about that shit.
They're not They're not though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I'm against people saying exit that whole conversation. No.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't saying exit that whole conversation. I just know that topic was
she was trying to get some shit.
Yeah. That topic was brought up specifically for something, malicious. It wasn't brought up just so they can visit and show Kobe's, triumph. You know what I mean? They want that. You don't bring that up. And especially not Gayle King, because usually she's known for tarnishing black men. She's known for that.
And that's what I mean by weaponized, bro.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But I don't get it because you're a black woman. If anything, I think that's why the men have the mindset that they have. That's why it's so easy for them to go to a Latino or to a white one, because we're not giving them the necessary love all the time that they deserve. But I'm all for my black brother. I mean, I ain't knocking no other.
I don't get brothers who do that, to be honest with you, because like
I don't either.
I never understood that.
When I ask them, they can't really give me a full answer.
I'm gonna tell you what my boy says. My boy just recently did a social experiment. He told me he was doing it before he did it. He put the word preference.
Yeah, that's what up.
And he put Spanish woman 4 stars, black woman 1 star.
Why she only get 1?
Watch what happens.
Why she only get 1?
He said preference. He said preference. Preference is subjective. Mm-hmm. I may prefer this water over that Sprite. I'm not belittling the Sprite. I'm not disrespecting the Sprite.
But your mother was an African American. Your mother was a black woman.
I agree with you 100%. But I may just want some water at this time.
But all I'm saying is, I understand. I feel like when it's a biracial child, I get that. One of your parents are black and your other parents is white.
It's still a hard life.
I get that. But when both of your parents are black, and you discredit, like, did you forget your mama was black?
It's not even. That's my issue with that. Isn't I guess racially. It's culturally. Like I said, that's the whole reason why I'm fascinated by mixed people and demographics is because of the cultural differences. Like, white culture is different than black culture.
Definitely.
So when you think about like how hard it is, like I was telling you how hard that I've been having it within my own marriage because we got two different kinds of blacks.
Right.
You got the hood kind of black, you got the hood kind of black, and you got the appropriated kind of black. You feel what I'm saying? And the culture is so different. Like you get lost in translation a whole lot. You know what I mean? So that is it's harder to actually date outside of your race. It's not easy. People be thinking, people they perverts. They perverts. All they think about is like sexually and, you know what I mean? But when you talking about getting a relationship and dating and marriage and stuff like that, it is everything. You're giving all of yourself to a person. The person is giving their entire world to you as well. So it's like, I think that question as far as, why do black men prefer to date? Well, it's.
I think you can't say that.
Yeah, me too.
That's a question that's invalid.
It is.
It isn't black men. It was my boy Duran.
Yeah.
Preference, but he got drugged for it. I'm like, but it's his preference. He's not saying one is better than the other. He just said he just happened to like this one.
Well, I wouldn't go say necessarily preference. I was gonna say I feel like those are exceptions. You know what I mean? Because it's an exception for somebody. They're not the general. The general rule is we typically, just as a human race, we typically date within our own cultural or social circles. To date outside of your cultural or social circle is an exception. So it doesn't speak for the entire group.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say. So saying that black men, no, those are exceptions to black men. Black men generally, just like every other man, whatever race they come from, date within their own social circles. So somehow these black men who obviously they was raised by two black parents and presumably come in the black community, came up in the black community or what have you, somehow got an opportunity to be a part of a white social circle or a Hispanic social circle, which is not likely to happen here in Mobile because we ain't really diverse like that. We ain't got you either black and you white around here. You know what I mean?
I've seen a few Koreans.
I seen some Cambodians.
I dated a Korean actually.
Here in Mobile?
Yeah.
Really?
High school. Yeah.
You went to Murphy?
No.
Oh, I went to Theodore.
Oh yeah, you went to Theodore. Okay, well that makes sense then because a lot of them. Yeah, because a lot of the.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, a lot of the Asian people in our area live in that Irvington, and they live out there.
They fish.
Yeah, that's where they go. A lot of Vietnamese, Cambodians, all them. That's everyone that I met that were here that have businesses in Mobile. They actually live out there.
But Murphy like that too. You got all different ethnicities that go to Murphy.
I agree. I think it was more spread. I think Murphy was like the poster child of
I agree with that.
Integration.
Yeah.
Which is why I respect it and I love the campus. I love seeing Murphy.
Yeah, I
in my heyday. I'm old.
I didn't say that, you did.
Right. I take it. 2005 was a long time ago. But I just felt like he was getting drugged, and I'm like, you can't really drag him, man. Like, if that's something he liked, that's something he liked.
Yeah.
He didn't degrade anyone.
Yeah.
He just put his like. That's like, do you like me, yes or no? And if they put no, you dragging them for saying no.
Yeah.
You got some people that will drag you because that's rejection to some folks.
I agree. That is the problem.
Yeah.
You can't fault me for what I like.
Yeah.
And look what I like.
I
mean, it's none of your business anyway. You know what I mean? Do you like me? You don't? Get out my face. You trying to say that you like me or that's what you're implying? No, get out my face then. What are we talking?
I just feel like media and everything is weaponizing everything just for the sake of clicks and
like
clout chasing.
And
everyone is clout chasing.
At the detriment of everybody else, though, man. Like the fuck, like some of these conversations. Like if I feel like some of the shit that we get into it about, if we took that same energy
applied
to real shit,
be surprised what you could do. Done.
True. But I think there's a silver lining in that, and I recognize that in my studies. What I realize is that it's causing us to talk, and no matter, even if it's something stupid, it raises or it forces human intellect to evolve.
I can get with that.
We get more interactions. No, it doesn't matter what we're interacting over, but the fact that we get to, have battle of the brains, so to speak, over whatever topic, pushes us closer to a true democracy. Because the only reason why we don't have a true democracy is because people are stupid.
I agree.
I'm being real with you.
A lot of stupid people to be.
It's too many stupid people. If everyone was responsible for their own minds, for their own lives, for the direction of their own future, then they could adequately represent themselves politically. But we don't have enough of them, so we need people to represent us.
I agree. That's why I respect people who. This is gonna sound bad. I respect Trump supporters who use logic and have the gall to actually post their response of why they fuck with Trump. I wholeheartedly appreciate that because it gives me that outlook instead of just blindly hating something.
Yeah. Gives you the opportunity
to put see the other side of that table.
Well, not just that, but to test their thoughts. That's the whole. It's an opportunity to test whether or not your perception is close to is as close to reality as you think it is. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make. Like I mean, it's bad. Don't get me wrong.
You gotta be able to stand up to scrutiny.
Exactly. Exactly. If it doesn't stand up to scrutiny, it's false. And an intelligent person would leave it behind and find out something that's more right and more concrete. So it forces us. We are evolving intellectually as a collective, as a humankind. Which, before I forget, you were saying that black people needed to move more towards just a common goal of minorities. I feel like, the burden of humanity pushing forward isn't on black people. That is for every human being.
I agree. I meant that from within, like within me being a black man in the black community. I can try and reach out to my fellow man and explain to them, hey, if we want people to recognize us, we have to recognize them.
Yeah,
I mean that's what I meant for.
I get what you. I
because you'd be surprised to find out how much you got in common with the next person.
Of course, but we need to find out what we got in common with each other, and that's the argument I'm putting forth within black people. Because even though we may do that for Mexicans and they have similar plights or what have you, what they don't have is the same ethnicity problem that we do.
It's true.
They still have a country back in them. And they still have, whenever you see them, they get together, they work hard, they put money together. And I literally seen, because I used to stay in Barrington Park Apartments, and my neighbors were Mexican, and they all lived together. They were, yeah, they weren't not necessarily blood related, but they would work together, and they put their money together to buy a car that they would share. And eventually, they end up getting another car for another. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a bigger community there. They didn't got the kind of divisiveness that we have. And it all started from, of course, slavery time when they would separate our families. So the idea of unity, it has been foreign to us for centuries.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because, look, a Mobile, Alabama nigga is different than a New York one.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Much.
So like that's almost like a cultural leap. So that's a whole different culture. They talk different. They got different slang, different linguistics. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to try to pull what we got together. West Side versus East Side. West Side black folks ain't like East Side black folks. So it's a lot of stuff within our own culture here that we all share as Americans that we need to patch together. That's all I'm saying. Now, that's what you're talking about as far as like for the human race. That's a bigger, that's something larger. That's the overall goal. That's not a line. That's the overall goal. But our immediate goal is for us to dab along with us. You know what I mean? I get reprimanded in my household a lot of times because sometimes I use slang words instead of, the correct word or what have you. My wife would be like, that's not how they say it. Like, we had a conversation, we have an argument over somebody named Diana. But I know people in my family be like, Dana, you know what I mean? And so I hated to get deep on it like that, but she was just like, I think it's not the correct way to say it. You're right. And I feel like that's what's so fascinating about it is that black people have always been able to take something and make it their own.
Uniquely.
And not only make it their own, but make it to the point to where even the people who created it is like, hey, I want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. Hey, I think that's cool the way you said that word. I think it's cool the way you're wearing your clothes. Right. You know what I'm saying? We wore the same clothes. We got the same thing. I just put it on a little different. Put a little sag on, a little drip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we got the same thing. We took their culture and we made something. We flipped it and we made something beautiful out of it. So I'm not going to look at it from a negative, use any kind of negative connotations associated with it because I see the innovation. Yeah. I see the ingenuity in our ability to take anything and make it cool. Or pimp. Or whatever. Country swag. However you want to put it, man. We got it.
The fact that word has changed.
What?
The word for cool. We can change that word like every, I say about 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I remember when the word was trill.
Yeah.
Like, and then before that it was like, what was it? Trill, damn, what did we used to say like over the last years? Like just the fact that word associated with cool, like even being clean, like it used to be clean, being fresh.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah.
drip.
Yeah,
like,
The
fact that it still evolves, yeah.
Yep. When we got that, we got the ability. No one else seems to be displaying it the way that we do, and so you know, I was actually trying to write a poem about that titled, you know, NIGGA, because I feel like that part of our culture being pushed aside and, you know, hidden from the public. We try to push that down. Like, there's a difference between black folk and niggas. Bro, that's our problem.
Yeah, I know a lot of black folks that don't.
Yeah.
Like, one of my coworkers just, I hate to say it, but she's an older person. So I almost feel like it's more challenging trying to get you to understand where I'm trying to, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to cross over to you, because you already in your mindset, you have what you want to believe on it, and those are your thoughts. So it's like silly me for thinking that I can actually.
Of course. That was raised up in an area where it was like, don't you make white folks uncomfortable now, bad things happen.
Yeah, but it ain't even that. She just be like, don't use that word. Don't use that word on me because I'm not that.
Yeah.
And I be like,
because of the association.
Yeah. I know it's a negative connotation, so that's why. That's why she be like, don't do that. Do you know what my people had to go through? I said, you say that like my folks didn't have to go through that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right. I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah.
That is called trauma. That is when something has occurred and it's left a lasting imprint on it. And you're poking that sore.
That sore spot.
Yeah, you're poking it.
Yeah.
And you letting her know, like, I'm poking it to let you know you ain't by yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and that's making her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because when you have that pillar that's built to protect this ideal that I'm alone in this and these young folks don't get what the fuck I went through.
That pillar is the why. Mm-hmm. You create that pillar to make a reasons of why you in this situation. Mm-hmm. And as long as that why ain't tampered with, this is why I'm hurt.
It's good.
It's good. But as soon as somebody start pulling that thing apart, like, hold on, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Wait a minute, hold up now. Yeah. Don't you mess with my reality.
Right.
I made this so I can stay sane. I don't want to deal with that pain.
That's why I hate the words. I hate these two words. My truth. Because that is the personification of a lie, period. Because you're making it conditional because you're putting yourself in it. Mm-hmm. And you can be wrong. You are not absolute. Yeah. So, man.
None of us are.
Yeah.
We was on some deep shit earlier. Like we've been talking like.
I see.
Yeah, we was in it. We was in the bag for a minute.
Yeah, for a long time.
But I do have to hold Gail responsible. I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Oprah's friend. For come on, Oprah, your best, one of your best. So you want to tell me you didn't have this conversation with her?
I feel like in the same sense, I don't think that Oprah would be totally against that. You gotta understand. No, for real though. For real though. They've been friends for years, and like we know, Gail is not shy. Like, I was not surprised when this got publicized that question came up from her. Yeah. That didn't blow me at all because it's not her first time being in a position like this, and Oprah knows her friend. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like to a certain extent.
That's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing.
I feel like it's to a certain extent that maybe Oprah shares the same sentence.
Thank you.
She says
That's
the same
why I don't
sentence.
feel like Oprah's the spokesperson.
No, she's not, because there's been times where Oprah
I hate
has.
that shit when
Yeah,
people try to feel like that.
I hate that too, because Oprah has been against us numerous times.
Yeah,
and I have
been.
not forgot. I have not forgot about it.
Ain't no have been.
She teeter-totter. She teeter-totter.
Depending on
Pick and
what
choose,
season it is.
Depending on what
she can
season it
benefit
is,
from it.
depending on what's going on.
Oh, I need OWN to pop off. Let me go holler at my black people and put something in motion.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let me talk about the black church in Greenleaf a little bit, because I know everybody got church hurt.
Yeah.
So she's a businesswoman.
Yeah. She's very political. She knows how to make friends with her enemies.
She's an emotion monger. She can benefit off the emotions of people. Just look at that. Look at when she had the Oprah Winfrey show. How many black people were in that audience?
Not many.
I don't remember seeing
Oprah's book club was white women. She went from talking about social issues to let me appease to these white people because these white people have the money. That's just how I feel. I'll never take away her stamp in history, but I feel like when the color of her money changed, she changed.
But that's all across the board, though.
I agree.
Name any celebrity, and I promise you, if a rapper, singer, whatever, they'll say
100%.
my audience changed. You start looking out, and instead of seeing black faces, they see a whole bunch of white faces. And when the white faces came, the green faces. and so you'll start seeing artists change their dynamics a whole lot.
Yeah.
So
let me know if y'all get cold too, by the way.
nah, but yeah, like I'm not surprised by none of this, and I don't expect anything great to come from Oprah at all. In this situation, I don't think that we're gonna hear anything that's gonna assuage the situation whatsoever. I think
She's gonna stay the fuck out of it.
she either gonna stay out of it just to keep her image, you know what I'm saying, from dwindling. Cause her name even being put up in it just bring it back more, like black people remember. Remember you, Oprah. Remember your cool ass.
Right, your punk ass. Put your bougie ass in the face. Like you don't see us.
If anything, Oprah probably mad at her friends. Like, what you do?
I just got out.
Now they back on my back. They remember again. Damn.
You ain't gonna forget that though.
Yeah.
Cause I remember Oprah back in the day, bro. Like when I was like 4 or 5. First off, I remember Oprah because it used to come on after my cartoons. But I remember black faces and my mom making me watch certain topics. I remember that episode where she brought that white lady who studies racism. She's like a professor in racism and the institutionalized part of it. And they divided up the actual audience by eye color.
You talking about that white lady?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you talking about that little
alive.
small. She's still alive?
Yes, she's still. I know she's still.
Boy,
there,
she's
bro.
still kicking.
Bruh, she's still kicking and stirring shit, bro. But that episode.
By the eye color though?
Yes, I will send you the clip of it. It will fuck you up. How people will believe they are superior. Even black people fed into it.
Well, that's like Salam gave me something to look at where I was like, I don't know, it was talking about racism and, you know, slavery and us still being in the mindset of slavery. And I was like, ooh, I don't think I should have looked at this because it kind of had me like, but that was a couple of years. Yeah, mentally. I have to gather my thoughts when you watch stuff like that because you'd be like,
Right. I feel like the transition was easier from me and you because we went to black schools first. And then we went to white schools. I graduated from Sassoon. So the black schools I went to Mertz, you know what I mean? I went to Morningside. I went to Pillins, you feel me? And then all of a sudden I just went to Sassoon.
Right.
So I got exposed, I got a culture shock because a lot of the way, just the politics that we had within our culture at the schools, like it was just kind of like kill to be killed, you know what I mean? So somebody bump into you, you got a squad right there, or else you gonna be tested for the rest of your life.
Don't think you pussy.
Yeah, exactly. If you bump into somebody at Satsuma, excuse me, I'm sorry. That's a whole different culture, bro. That's all, and they actually judged each other. They actually judged each other based off what their parents did. Yep. And I was not used to that.
When I found out white people didn't like white people based on their money,
yeah,
that fucked my world was turned upside down. I thought white people were just together.
Me too. Me too.
Money's together.
Yup.
Mm.
Yup.
I heard a white person call somebody a poor ass white cracker. I was like,
Man.
you said that?
Bro, I was in court. She say this all the time. I ain't gonna say her name. When I was in court and there's a city defender, and she's like the worst defender. But we was walking in the court, and she was like, "Look at these poor white trash fucking people." And I'm just thinking to myself, "You finna represent them,
Right?
How the hell you can say that? You about to represent them?" So it's like, you know, I had got, I don't know, conditioned to be like, know how to be a part of that world just by, you know, going to Satsuma or what have you. And I got perspective because of that. And a lot of black people, you know, don't have that perspective. So whenever they see stuff, content like what Salam trying to introduce you to, it's more troubling than it needs to be. But if you see both sides and you see the disparities, you see how they got it way better than we got it, you can kind of see like why we got all this toxicity in our communities, why we got all these trouble in our communities, why we got these behavioral and mental health issues in our community, and we don't share the same thing because they getting something different than we have. That's the reason why. I mean, I feel like it needs to wake you up. It needs to make you be like, whoa, oh my God.
You don't realize, I didn't realize I was poor, bro, until I got to like middle school. And that's when I went from, because when you're around all black people, race isn't really
an issue.
Yeah, we don't even talk like that.
It ain't an issue.
That's not the kind of stuff we talk in our household. We talk about Tyler Perry and laughing and stuff. We, you know what I'm saying? We talk about Kiki.
Right.
Do you love me?
Right.
You know
Are
what I'm
you
saying?
riding?
We don't talk about stuff in a typical white household. Politics are a part of their culture.
What's crazy is
I said white household.
I
My bad. I mean white households. My bad.
But that's the difference between us when you look at things and you say white people, black people. Take for example, you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any. Okay. Do you feel like white people are always a step ahead of the game? So when I say they're a step ahead of the game, we look at it as, oh, I'm gonna get this for my baby. I'm gonna get this. We're gonna go to Kiki baby shower and everything. Okay. White people, on the other hand, they done already made sure whatever child it is, whether boy or girl, they took care of tuition already. We don't prepare for that.
Well, they got their money together.
But even if we had, some of us still wouldn't do it, I don't feel like.
That's true.
Because your priorities is not in check.
Yeah, yes.
So,
you're right. You're on
Let's
something.
talk about
So
that.
one of my
Let's
friends,
do it.
one of my
It's
friends,
next time. We need to do
one of
that.
my
Yeah.
friends, no, seriously, me and one of my friends, we discuss everything. Like, that's what I love about having friends. Like, when I can literally talk about any and everything, and you ain't gonna judge me, you know what I'm saying, for discussing it. So when she said it, I was like, you really think so? She was like, yeah. And she was like, think about it. White woman, scenario A. Mom, I'm not feeling well. You think you could take me to the doctor? My throat's hurt. Sure, sugar, I'll take you. We're gonna go. Let me call Dr. Such and Such to make sure I can get you an appointment.
That is fucking
B, black woman. Hey mom, can you take me to the hospital? Hell nah, fuck nah, I ain't missing motherfucking work for you. Shit, you better figure out. You go take you some in there and get it in there. You be like,
that is real.
Yeah, her grandmama would be like, well, you know what? All you need is some castor oil,
right?
some rubber tussin,
you want to
some
give
soup.
me remedies instead of taking me to the doctor. And
I ain't
then
gonna
you
lie, the
still
remedies
mad
are-
at me though because I made you miss work. So I'm like, who the fuck plans to get sick?
And that
Those are the things that I look at.
generational curses is
Right.
Yeah,
finances is a big generational curse because it causes that belligerent. I don't know where this fussing belligerent thing started. I understand it's from frustration, but that right there, I'm gonna say is probably my priority because I have a very belligerent mother. Even when she means well, she talks down to you to get her point across.
Yeah,
I made that a point because I saw myself doing this while being the head of certain groups. I would talk down to people and hated myself for it. So I'm making it a point to address that, to heal that. And I feel like we talk about generational curses like
I did a piece
they're
called it too.
superstitious or, you know what I'm saying?
they're
Like
real.
they are very much real.
yeah.
You being you is not an excuse anymore. If you're going to have the responsibility of bringing a kid in here, you need to heal so your kids don't have to go to therapy.
Yeah.
And that is something that is concurrent through my family. Like, they just feel like they have to talk down or make you feel like a burden. I'm a child.
Yeah.
You are my superhero.
Yeah.
I am you. I'm your fruit. I'm hanging from you. So if I'm sick, don't make me an inconvenience. One, I didn't ask to be
It should
here.
be a priority, not an inconvenience. It should be a priority.
Bro, that is something I struggled with my parent for the longest. I just felt like an accessory. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
crazy.
Even when we
Said
have
that.
groceries and stuff, and I would mention that, she would make me feel like not having food was a problem I created.
And it's not, I try not to look at it as something they do intentionally. It's more so because it's the norm, because that's what they're accustomed to.
Poison
So
doesn't know it's
exactly,
poison.
there you go.
Poison doesn't know it's poison. And I know that the fact that you made sure that the S was absent in the word parent.
Parent.
Yeah,
Parent.
because that'll be point B.
Yeah.
No, but it's stuff like that. Like, you got, I'm pretty sure you take, for example, a white kid can go to school. Their parent don't mind paying for tuition. You know what I'm saying? They
It's a part of their budget.
They can still stay in the household with.
Yeah.
They don't have to work, versus somebody on B Island where you black. You gotta work. Your mama not finna. I'm gonna tell you something. You better get a loan, cause mama ain't finna. She ain't got that kind of. She ain't got that kind of money to call for you.
I really feel like that's something that's just dealing with people with money. Like, cause I know white people who are the same way with that. And I'm saying, cause my mom's best friend.
People say, for the few that's like that, majority is not like that.
Well, I say this. There's obviously a reason why the term white trash exists. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a hierarchy even within white culture.
Class.
Yeah, it's a class. You're right. So I've seen the same kind of. I think it's more of a culture of poverty. You know what I mean? Because I've seen the same linguistics happen between my mama's friend and her kids. You know what I mean? Like, she would talk to her kids the same way my mama talked to us, the same belligerent way. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's associated with that. But if I'm looking at it like as a bigger umbrella, looking at it from a cultural standpoint. Culturally, white people have a whole lot more accessible to them. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot more that that they can do, a lot more that they can be a part of. You know what I mean? We can't. Even if we had it together. Even if you did have a black parent who crossed all these, you know, all these docs and all this, hit all, had the money, did everything, child gets sick, it's a priority, my child is sick, you know what I'm saying? If you had a black person that did all this, you release that child into the world, they are going to be subjected to the same circumstances as any other black child in America. That's the difference I'm talking about. And you don't see that unless you get a view of those disparities coming from the world of being in the hood and going into the world where the white folks, honestly, in comparison, living an opulent lifestyle in comparison to where I came from. You know what I mean? I thought it was like their lifestyle was lofty and they complained about it.
Nigga.
They complained about it. I'm just like, hold on, your daddy here?
Bruh.
Your daddy here? Yeah, my dad, he's supposed to take me hunting, but he telling some he ain't bought a rifle yet, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you went hunting with your dad?
Quality time?
Quality time? Hold up, your dad is over, he's beating himself up because he didn't do something for you and you're beating him down for it? What?
You get to talk back.
You get to talk, oh my God, where is this? Mama, I learned this at,
All right.
concussion.
Right. Go sleep it off.
Go sleep it off.
Oh my God.
Man. So the differences are there, and I don't think it's actually clear until you take, just like we was talking about earlier, about how just no matter what the topic is, just talking about stuff.
Yeah, we don't have. We as African Americans, we don't have enough open dialect. I feel like
of course
with one another, not like we should.
No, of course not. And honestly, the picture for me, even though I went to Satsuma, it really wasn't that clear until I lived in DC. When I was in DC,
you got a vast difference.
Man, there's a super vast difference. Like a lot of the stuff that I would think it would take years for me to get, they casually just did. Like, we just got to do boom. Like just house, just car, it just has. You know what I mean? Like things that are just like the necessities of life. it's just for us, from the culture where we come from here, where I come from.
I think the mindset is different, completely different.
Of course it is.
Oh, yeah.
Of course it is. Because the stuff that they thought of is just like, you know, like peppermint. They thought about, you know, getting a house and a car and paying rent and shit like peppermints. Like, it's just a peppermint. It's just a penny. You know what I mean? Where I come from, it's just like,
It's
I
not
don't
like
know
that.
if I ever get a house or ever get a car. We got to wait till tax season
Right.
to come again. See, you know
That's
what I
what
mean?
I'm saying though, like, and that's the crazy part, cause I don't know, the world we live in so crazy. You tell a child, oh, you 18, you grown, you get out of my house, but I'm
Bruh.
really not grown yet, cause it's still so much I have to
I'm talking
learn.
about how you grown.
I ain't even on my own. How the hell I'm grown?
Bro, even like when I be seeing like older men dating younger girls, like 21 years old, I'm like, she's still a child, bro. She has been dependent for 20 years of her life. So for 1 year, she's on her own. For 1 year, she's on her own or what have you. She's still a child. Bro, it takes decades to become an adult.
I agree with that shit right there.
You get what I'm saying? I'm about to be 30 next month. You know what I'm saying? And
Excuse me.
you know, my life is
Shit different.
Shit different. shit is a whole lot different.
Can you guys wait? Let me get there. Like I'm
Man,
May.
look here. I've been here 2 years on my third. Shit changes.
It changes,
Your
man.
body works. You know, your body starts to work differently. You're not able to do some of the same shit you used to, and that's just physically.
Yeah.
Mentally, your tolerance goes from up here.
To
So
there.
what? I ain't got time for it.
Like, you will see shit before coming,
You
and
like-
you will cut shit off.
Mm-hmm.
And it will seem like the hardest thing
Preemptively.
to other people. And your id gap, I don't give a fuck factor, is the lowest. People will think you're being cold-hearted, but all you're doing is you just realize my sanity is everything because only I live with me.
I don't even say that. I always tell people, if I change, you got to think. People don't think. People are so quick to say you changed, not to think. Well, what made that person
did I
change?
do?
Like
Yeah.
what made that person?
Outside stimuli
Mhm.
does everything.
Yeah.
Outside stimuli. A leaf doesn't just decay.
Right.
Die. It detaches from a tree.
Right.
It doesn't get water. The sun hits it. It dries up. It crumples. A nigga steps on it and it's gone. Everybody just says it's not what it was anymore.
Mhm.
It's
you
responsibility and
changed.
maturity. When people
Yeah.
say that shit, it's just you're here and they're not quite there.
They're not quite there yet.
Don't
'cause
make me
I'm
feel
not
bad because you're
worried
not
about-
quite there though.
Yeah.
And I do not give a fuck what people think.
Me neither,
That
bro.
shit turned on, and I was like, "Oh, this is what it's like."
Bro,
This is
because
what it's
you ain't got time for it, bro. Like, it's like the older you get, the more limited your time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm not the same. I don't worry about the same stuff that I was worried
I
about
agree
when
with
I was
you, though.
21.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, bro. Like, I ain't got time for it. I need
Remember you used to iron your clothes everywhere you used to go?
man.
Oh, I still do that.
I still do that.
That'll
for-
change.
Well,
You'll find that one place where you just like, I'm gonna throw this shit.
It ain't
on.
gonna change.
of course. I mean, I do that. I'm not saying I'm
Oh, okay.
I'm guilty. I
know
do
I
it.
ain't by myself.
No, you're not by yourself at all. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I still pull out the iron every night, especially for the job. You know, what I
That's
mean?
different.
Yeah, it's
That's
different. You're right. You're
That's
just different. But if you're just going in the old world and then
If you
you
finna go to the car wash and come back,
cut it out. Ain't nobody finna do. Who am I showing out for? You know what? I've been driving.
I feel like that mentality expands.
Here's the thing. Here's a good example. I've been driving my best friend's car. He's a truck driver, and he drives like a Charger with some rims on it. It'll look real nice. And you know, it's a car that helps me get back and forth to work until you know I get my own vehicle or what have you. And every time somebody see me pull up in it, they be like, "Man, that car! I wish I had that." And I be looking to them like, "Why, nigga? Who cares? It's, you know what I mean? I don't care about image or how I wish I could just pull up in that. Why?
It's
Why do I?
wheels in a gas tank.
Exactly, bro. I don't care about what people think.
That's literally the way. I feel.
Like it was one dude I was working with. He was telling me how proud he was because of the car and shit. And I was just like, nigga, this ain't my car.
Right.
Look, and look, he was like,
say
and he was like
that.
taken aback, like he didn't expect me. Like, why would you didn't even have to tell me that information? I'm like, what?
But I want you to shut the hell up. And
Nigga,
you know.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
That's the power of truth, shattering your whole
Bro,
perception of
yes, exactly, bro. Reality is I'm grinding like you are.
Mm.
I just got a little. I got friends. And they help me out. You know what I mean?
That's all it is.
That's the goal. When you get to this age, what matters the most is credibility. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I need people and things that I can depend on. I need security. I don't need something that's fleeting.
Agreed.
Ooh, I love that word.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that word.
Like imagery, you know, people's perception of you, it changes. You know why? Because trends change.
Exactly.
That car is cool now.
10 years later.
Bro, less than 10 years later.
5 years later.
1 year.
Exactly. Niggas fighting and killing each other over shoes and clothes. Guess what? A new trend gonna happen. A new style gonna happen. And guess what? It's gonna be whack to wear the clothes you killing each other over.
Don't even matter no more.
Nah, he dead over some old shit because you want to be fresh in the moment. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't care for superficial stuff like that. I'd rather be me because I'm the only thing that will be constant until my death.